Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. It's in the description below. Reach out to tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a 2019 50-piece limited edition from H. Moser Cie of Schaffhausen, Switzerland. This is the Endeavour Perpetual Moon Concept Aventurine, and it is everything its name implies. 42 millimeters in red, not pink, not rose, red gold. The timepiece has immense presence. It's reasonably thin at 13.5 millimeters thick, 48.4 millimeters from lug to lug, and 20 millimeters between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see from the overhead shot that it's actually pretty compact from lug to lug. For a 42 millimeter watch, it's not even close to reaching the edge of my wrist. And you can see, and I'm going to show you this to effect because it has a camber on the underside. It wraps around the wrist, and this down the barrel shot shows just how much clearance I have on both sides. So I think you could wear this watch on a wrist of 14, maybe even 13.5 centimeters circumference. It will fit underneath most cuffs. There's the cuff shot. And taking one last look at that case back, just to say, it's almost like a tonneau would be an accurate statement. It is almost curved like the back of a Richard Mille case. Now, taking a quick look at the strap, the hardware and the software, as I like to say, it's a large rectangular scale black alligator leather strap with a monotone stitch, sheer edge showing the layers of construction. It's not bolstered, it's fairly thin. There is a semi-gloss finish on the top, and you can see on the underside it is black calfskin, and this is a brand new H. Moser Cie factory strap with no gouging or crimping. A simple and elegant red gold satin and polished pin buckle, and then we roll back to the case and you can see just how fluid and shapely and flowing the Moser Endeavour case is. You can see the bezel is concave all the way around, but it expands at 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock, flowing out at the extremities. You can see that the case flanks are mirrored, scalloped, hollowed, and concave, gorgeous, pairing the visual mask. For what would be ordinarily a very large case, you still wind up with an elegant effect. Now there's some contrasting satin finish, vertical, not longitudinal, at the mid case. And then the timepiece features a simple inverse conical crown. If you look on the underside, you can see that there's actually plenty of clearance to dig in your fingernail. So Moser thought of everything here. The dial. The dial defines this watch. Moser has a couple of different distinctive dials, and it's known for all of them. There's funky blue, their signature color. There are the fume fades that start bright at their center and fade to dark at their edge. There's the purity dial, which features a minimum of printing, indices only. And then there is the concept dial, which is the cleanest of them all, and that's what you have right here. No branding, no text, no indices, just the moon, the hands, and the stars beyond. Now, I should mention what you're looking at here is Aventurine glass. Aventurine glass is essentially a very sophisticated blue translucent enamel. The dial base is gold, the blue enamel is then laid down, and metallic elements are added to create the image of the cosmos and the stars. It's very much like Aventurine, the mineral, but it's more regular and quality is easier to control. It has the same bottomless glossy depth effect. The hands, as you can see, are principally a rose gold leaf style hands with a little bit of faceting down their center to contrast better with the dial base. There is a counterweighted needle style seconds hand, and you can see that the minute hand as well as the seconds hand are rolled on miniature rollers so that they curve down under the edge of the sapphire, which tilts at the edge of the dial. There's a small index in the center, and that is critical for setting the moon phase. That lets you know whether you're looking, for example, at AM or PM, because that is a 24-hour hand. So you can see how it's moving at half the speed of my local hour hand. Well, what you're looking at right here, because that little index is pointed straight up, that is 12 midnight. So that little stub index there is effectively your AM, PM, so you know when to set the moon phase. The moon phase, let's talk about it. Not only is it a huge moon phase aperture on the dial, but it was designed by AHCI luminary and independent watchmaker star in his own right, Andreas Streller. He's known for elegance and complications, things that are very complicated but outwardly look simple. So this is a moon phase with an accuracy of 1,027 years and 1/3 of a year. So it is a millennial moon phase. That is why the watch is called the Perpetual Moon. It has an endurance longer than most perpetual calendars. And there's a little pusher adjuster on the side that works through a linkage to adjust the moon phase internally. 50 pieces, a limited edition, and here you have a Moser 800 series manual wind base. Now I should show you one feature on the dial because it's easier to see on that side. There is a hacking seconds function, so the seconds will stop. You'll also note that the seconds hand, which is long and slow, beats away at 2.5 hertz or 18,000 vibrations per hour like a glorious old pocket watch movement. And that is what Moser is trying to evoke with the style of this movement. Three-quarter style plate. You have that lovely swan's neck style click spring. You have pivot jewels for the barrels set in golden chaton held by screws. It's designed to evoke the Moser pocket watches of the 19th century. Now there is another complication on the case back, a power reserve indicator. The watch is advertised as a 7-day manual wind. In truth, it'll run for almost 9 before it's exhausted. Now for shock resistance and stability, it has a full balance bridge and a free sprung index. It also has an overcoil hairspring, and Moser makes its own overcoil hairspring, its own balance, and its own escapement. The overcoil gives the watch the ability to keep excellent time in any position with respect to gravity. So you have concentric breathing of the hairspring in any position. That's the advantage of an overcoil. The escapement is made of 14 karat gold. And again, Moser makes that in-house at its precision engineering subsidiary. The 14 karat gold escapement making for less friction, longer power reserve, and more accurate timekeeping. Now, precision engineering, of course, makes all these small parts, the balance, the hairspring, the escapement, and it builds them for Moser. And I think there are quite a few sophisticated manufacturers that do build their own movements, but don't make these small parts, and that's a critical difference at Moser. Now, Moser is also a relatively small company, so if you're thinking of volume, they're making about 1,500 pieces a year, so the watches are exclusive, and they're also special. They'll never feel too common. This movement is protected down to 30 meters, so it's dress watch water-resistant standard, and it features handsome double-crested Côte de Genève satination on the wheels, black polish on the screws, and then you can see that there is a beveling, mostly mechanical, but handsomely executed across the bridges. Reach out to tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.